Every July 7th, 10,000 magpies fly into the sky and die. They lock their wings together, body against body, building a bridge across a river of stars. Their bones crack under the weight. Their feathers burn in the cosmic wind. And they do it anyway, every single year. For two lovers who are not allowed to touch. This is not a fairy tale. This is the oldest punishment in Korean mythology. And it starts with a stolen bath. What would you do if the person you loved was separated from you by an entire galaxy? Not by choice, not by death, by the deliberate cruelty of a god who happens to be her father. The Greeks had Orpheus. The Japanese have Tanabata. But the Korean version, the original, is worse. Because in the Korean version, nobody did anything wrong. They just fell in love. And heaven decided that was unforgivable. Gyeonwoo was nobody. That's important. Remember that. He was a cowherd in a village so small it didn't have a name. His parents died when he was young. His brothers took the house, the land, everything. All Gyeonwoo got was an old grey ox. But this ox was different. Too calm, too knowing. It watched Gyeonwoo with eyes that held something uncomfortably close to understanding. The villagers avoided it, said it was unlucky, said it had been struck by lightning once and survived. And nothing that survives lightning is entirely natural. Gyeonwoo didn't care. He talked to the ox the way lonely people talk to animals, telling it things he'd never say to another human.
You're the only one who stays.
Days bled into days. Gyeonwoo plowed fields that weren't his, for rice that went to other tables. He slept in a leaning shed behind the ox's stable. His hands were hard as bark. His clothes were more patched than cloth. And every evening he sat with his ox on a hill above the village, watching the stars come out. The one luxury that poverty couldn't take from him. Then one evening, the ox spoke. Not a low, animal sound. Words, in a voice like stones, grinding together at the bottom of a well.
Tomorrow, at dawn, go to the silver stream beyond the eastern ridge. 7 women will come down from heaven to bathe. Hide the 7th one's robes, the one made of starlight. Do not hesitate.
Gyeonwoo stared. The ox blinked its ancient eyes and said nothing more, as if it had used up a lifetime's worth of words in one breath. He went. Of course he went. What would you have done? At dawn, Gyeonwoo climbed the ridge and found a stream he had never seen before. Water that flowed silver, catching light that wasn't sunlight. The air tasted different here. Thinner, sweeter, like breathing at the edge of heaven. Then they came. 7 women descended from the sky like falling stars, trailing light behind them. They shed their celestial robes on the bank, each garment glowing faintly, folded neatly on the rocks, and they entered the water laughing, their voices like wind chimes in a language Gyeonwoo couldn't name. The 7th one was different. She didn't laugh. She entered the water slowly, as if she was carrying something heavy that no one else could see. Her hair flowed past her waist like black silk on silver water, and when she finally looked up, Gyeonwoo forgot to breathe, not because she was beautiful, because she was sad, and he recognized that sadness. It was his own. His hands shook as he crept to the bank. 6 robes glowed softly, but the seventh burned with captured starlight, silver and white, impossibly light in his rough hands. He took it, stuffed it inside his joggery, and waited, heart slamming against his ribs like a trapped bird. When the bathing was done, 6 maidens dressed and rose into the sky like sparks from a fire. But the 7th, Jiknyeo, searched the bank with growing panic. Without her celestial robe, she couldn't return. She was stranded, on Earth, in a mortal body, naked and terrified by a stream that was already losing its silver glow.
Where? My robes? I can't.
Gyeonwoo stepped out from behind the rocks. He didn't look at her body, he looked at her face. And what he saw there wasn't anger. It was the exact same loneliness he saw every morning in the water when he washed his face.
I'm sorry, the ox told me to... I know that sounds insane. I'm sorry, please. I have a coat. It's rough, but it's warm. I'll turn around.
He did turn around, and he waited, for what felt like the longest silence of his life. She stayed, not because she had no choice, though she didn't. She stayed because something in this stammering, dirt-poor cowherd, with calloused hands and honest eyes, felt more real than anything she'd known in heaven. In heaven, she wove starlight for eternity, beautiful and meaningless. Here, she wove rough cotton, and it mattered. They married in the cowherd's leaning shed. No guests, no ceremony, just two people who looked at each other and said, "This is enough." The ox watched from the corner, chewing straw with what might have been satisfaction.
I've woven constellations for 1,000 years. I've never made anything as beautiful as this.
It's just a shed.
It's ours.
Years passed. They had two children, a boy and a girl. Gyeonwoo farmed. Jiknyeo wove. The children grew fat and loud and beautiful. The ox grew older, slower, but its eyes still held that uncanny knowing. For a while, for a brief, impossible while, they were happy, the kind of happiness that makes the gods nervous. Because heaven had noticed. The looms of heaven sat empty. The celestial tapestry, the fabric of the sky itself, was unraveling. Clouds frayed, sunsets dimmed. The constellations drifted out of alignment. The Jade Emperor looked down and saw his daughter, his finest weaver, living in a mud hut, with a cowherd, with mortal children, with dirt under her divine fingernails. He didn't rage. That would have been kinder. The Jade Emperor simply looked at his wife, the Queen Mother of the West, and nodded once. That nod contained more cruelty than any scream.
Bring her back. End this.
The Queen Mother descended like a cold wind. She didn't negotiate. She didn't explain. She seized Jiknyeo by the wrist and dragged her into the sky, still screaming, still reaching down toward the earth, toward the shed, toward the man standing in the doorway with two crying children in his arms.
Gyeonwoo, the children, don't let go. Gyeonwoo.
Gyeonwoo ran. He ran with a child on each hip, stumbling, falling, getting up, running again. But you cannot chase heaven on human legs. He watched her shrink into the sky, a bright point of light getting smaller and smaller, and he screamed until his throat tore.
Jiknyeo, come back. Please, please.
The old grey ox was dying. It had known this day was coming. Perhaps it had always known. It looked at Gyeonwoo with those impossible eyes and spoke for the second and last time.
When I die, take my hide. Wear it. It will carry you to heaven.
And then it closed its eyes, and the best friend Gyeonwoo ever had was gone. He wept as he skinned the ox. His hands shook. His children watched with wide, terrified eyes. But he did it. He wrapped himself and his children in the ox's hide, rough, grey, still warm, and felt himself rising, through clouds, through layers of light, toward heaven, toward her. He made it. Mud on his feet, children crying, wrapped in a dead ox's hide, a cowherd, crashed the gates of heaven. The celestial guards were so stunned they didn't move. The immortals stared, and Gyeonwoo ran through halls of jade and gold, screaming her name, leaving dirty footprints on floors that had never known dust. He saw her, across a vast courtyard of polished moonstone. She was at her loom, weaving with mechanical emptiness, tears falling silently into the starlight fabric. She looked up, their eyes met, and for one heartbeat, one single, perfect heartbeat, the universe held its breath.
You came.
I'll always come.
The Queen Mother moved, fast, terrifyingly fast for something so ancient. She pulled the silver hairpin from her hair, a pin that was also a blade, also a decree, also a sentence, and she drew it across the sky between them. One stroke, that's all it took. Where the pin traced, the sky tore open. A river of stars exploded into being. Billions of lights roaring to life between them, a galaxy-wide torrent of cosmic fire. The Milky Way, Unhasu, born not from creation, but from cruelty. Not a wonder of nature. A prison wall made of stars. Gyeonwoo reached out. Jiknyeo reached out. Their fingertips, separated by an infinity of burning light, couldn't touch.
No, no, no.
I can see you. I can see you right there. Why can't I reach you?
The Jade Emperor spoke. And when gods speak, the words don't just describe reality, they create it.
You will weave. He will herd. The river between you will not be crossed. This is the order of heaven. Love is not above duty. Nothing is above duty.
Jiknyeo wept. Not the delicate tears of a celestial maiden, ugly, choking, human tears, the kind she'd learned on earth. She wept so hard that rain fell on the mortal world below. In Korea, when it rains on the 7th day of the 7th month, they still call it Jiknyeo's tears. And Gyeonwoo, on the other side of the Milky Way, still clutching his children, looked across that impossible distance and said nothing. Because what do you say to someone you can see but never touch? But someone was listening. Thousands of someones. The magpies, the kachis, heard the weeping. These were not ordinary birds. In Korean mythology, magpies are messengers between worlds. They carry good news. They announce the arrival of guests. And they heard a sound that no messenger should ever have to hear. A love crying out with nowhere to go. They gathered. From every corner of the earth, from every rooftop and every rice paddy, 10,000 magpies rose into the sky. Not because a god commanded it, not because duty required it, because they chose to. Free will. The one thing the Jade Emperor cannot overrule. They flew to the Milky Way and locked their wings together, body against body, bone against bone, building a bridge across a river of stars. The Jiknyeo, the magpie bridge, their feathers burned. The cosmic wind tore at them. Some fell, others took their place, and slowly, impossibly, a path formed across the galaxy. On the 7th night of the 7th month, Gyeonwoo crossed, his bare feet on the backs of 10,000 birds, his children in his arms. Each step cost a magpie its strength. Each step was paid for in feathers and broken wings. And at the center of the bridge, she was waiting. They didn't speak. What words could matter? He set the children down. She reached out, and for the first time in a year, skin touched skin, calloused fingers on starlight pale hands, rough against smooth, earth against heaven, and every magpie on the bridge wept with them.
Your hands are still rough.
Your hair still smells like stars.
One night, that's all they get. One night per year. From dusk to dawn on Chilsok, the 7th evening. Then the bridge collapses. The magpies fall back to earth, bald-headed, featherless, exhausted. And Gyeonwoo walks back across the fading stars, carrying his children, not looking back. Because if he looks back, he won't be able to let go. Have you ever noticed that magpies in Korea go bald in late summer? The tops of their heads bare, featherless. Koreans say it's because of the Jiknyeo. The bridge burned their crowns away. Every year, the same sacrifice. Every year, they grow their feathers back. And every year, they fly up again. No one asks them to. They just do. The Jade Emperor allowed it. Not out of mercy, out of calculation. He saw the magpies building and realized you cannot stop 10,000 acts of free will without destroying the natural order. So he permitted one night per year, thinking it would be enough to stop the weeping, the rain, the unraveling. He was wrong, because one night per year is not mercy. It's the cruelest punishment of all. It means they can never move on, never heal, never forget. Every reunion is a countdown to goodbye. Every touch is already a memory. They live in a permanent state of almost, which is worse than never. And so Jiknyeo weaves, day after day, year after year, century after century. Her loom fills the sky with colors, sunsets, auroras, the shimmer of twilight, all beautiful, all meaningless to her. She weaves like a machine, perfect, empty, waiting, counting the days until the 7th month.
364 days of dying, one night of living, and they call this heaven.
And Gyeonwoo herds, on the other side of the Milky Way, in a heaven he never wanted, he tends celestial oxen that never die and never need tending. A pointless job given to a pointless man by a god who considers him furniture. His children grow. They ask when they'll see their mother. He says soon. He's been saying soon for centuries. Look up tonight. Find Vega, the brightest star in the constellation Lyra. That's Jiknyeo. Now find Altair, in the constellation Aquila, across the Milky Way. That's Gyeonwoo. They're 14 light years apart, close enough to see, too far to touch. They've been like that for 4,000 years. In Korea, if it rains on Chilseok, people look up and say, Jiknyeo is crying. If it's clear, they say the lovers are together tonight and the magpies made it. Either way, people look up. That's the thing about this story. It makes you look up. And once you're looking at the stars, you can't help but wonder, is it possible to love someone so much that even the sky can't keep you apart? 4,000 years, 364 days of emptiness, one night of borrowed time on the backs of 10,000 birds who choose to burn. Over and over, forever, and every year they cross. Not because it ends the pain, because one night of holding the person you love is worth an eternity of reaching. The Greeks called their version romantic. The Japanese made it a festival, but the Korean version asks you something the others don't. It asks, would you cross the bridge? Knowing it collapses, knowing you'll have to walk back, knowing tomorrow you wake up alone. Would you cross? Gyeonwoo never hesitated, not once, in 4,000 years. If you enjoyed this story, please hit subscribe and like. Next time, I'll bring you an even more fascinating tale from Korean mythology. Until then, keep looking up.